What's up to all of my homeowners and future homeowners? We are on day 12 of our home buying series, and I just felt the need that it was a great day to sit outside by the pool, so that's where we're at today. But we're still going to have our topic at hand in discussion. This one is a bit different because it's going to be a story time. No, I'm not going to use the names of the people that I spoke to or the person that I spoke to, but this is a story time. So you know how you were in kindergarten and you sat in a circle, Indian style. A lot of us can't sit in Indian styles anymore, but and your teacher, they read to you a story. Well, this is the adult version of a story time, okay? So let's go ahead and jump right into it. The topic for day 12 of our home buying series is why homeownership can be game changing. Let's talk about it. And when I say game changing, I'm talking about financially game changing for you, okay? So let's just go ahead and jump into it. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I had a conversation with a gentleman, and this gentleman was speaking to me about his situation that he was in with his house. Okay, now I do want to mention that the reason why something just flew in my eye, y'all, that hurt. Hold on. Ooh, I'm back. Okay, my eye was burning, but back to the conversation. So this gentleman that I was speaking to, he was telling me about his financial situation as it pertains to his home and stuff. And I do have my consultation, which is the Felk Servicing Solutions, and I was just speaking to him about his situation because he was telling me that his home was in foreclosure, and that's unfortunate. Now, how we got on the topic was we was talking about comps, you know, what the home or his home could be potentially valued at this time in 2026, right? So versus, you know, what it was when he looked at it a couple of years ago versus now. And what I want to address and what I want people to understand is you want to be sure you understand how you can comp your property or find comparables to determine what the value of your home is, okay? And if you don't know how to do that, that's perfectly fine. I can do that for you as well. See, it's a one-stop shop over here, baby. But let's go ahead and get back into it, okay? So I was having a conversation with him, and he was telling me, you know, his situation, and he was like, you know, I checked what my home was valued at a couple of years ago, and I'm still underwater, yada, 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 right? And I'm kid you not, guys, okay? So I pulled out my laptop. I kid you not. I pulled out my laptop and I ran a comparable. I ran what his home could potentially be valued at as of 2026 in his neighborhood. I do want to make mention that this person or gentleman is not in Jacksonville, Florida. Again, he called me through my consultation, Felk Servicing Solutions. That's how I made interaction with him. For those that don't know, Felk Servicing Solutions is my consultation where I provide value to those who have an existing mortgage, and they may be in some type of financial strain and potentially in the risk of losing their property, may not get the questions they need answered with their mortgage company, not understanding an escrow analysis, mortgage assistance, things of that sort. I offer value. I bring that to the table. I assist you with those questions, comments, and concerns. Back to the regular schedule program. Okay, so we was having a conversation, and he was telling me, you know, hey, a couple of years ago, I checked the value of my home and it was not near, it was still underwater. And when I say underwater, I mean that he owed more to the mortgage company than what his home was worth, okay? Having a mortgage is a numbers game, okay? So at that time that he pulled the value, he actually still owed more money to the mortgage company than what his home was worth, okay? So when I ran the numbers, okay, and keep in mind how you run numbers. I'm not going to get too far detail into it, but I do have a system, being a real estate agent, where I can, you know, look at the site and, you know, take that, you know, specific property at question and run it with other numbers or homes that was recently sold in the area, recently purchased in the area, or actively for sale in the area. Okay, so we can talk about that another time. This is where we're going at on day 12 of our home buying series. How and why homeownership can be a game changer. Because this guy was stressing about potentially losing his house because he had gotten behind on his mortgage payments due to a financial situation. So his home was in foreclosure. He told me a couple of years ago he ran the comps to determine what the value of his home was, and it determined that he was upside down on his home, meaning that he still owed more money to the mortgage company than what his home was worth at that time. I pulled my laptop out right at that moment on the spot because I was not at my desk. I was not at my home to be able to pull up my computer. However, I have determined and known that anytime I go anywhere, I have my iPad or my laptop with me. I pulled over and I pulled up my laptop and I put his property address into the system that I have to be able to determine the value of the home based upon homes that had been recently purchased in the last 90 days in that area, along with homes that were actively up for sale, and then homes that were pending or under contract. We determined that his property was worth a good amount of money. He couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. So what I did was I ran the numbers again in a different database that I do have, okay? And I also use factors like Zillow and things of that sort, okay? You want to make sure that you are running these numbers correctly for these homeowners, okay? So I did it again, and sure enough, I said what you had a couple of years ago is not what the value of your home is in 2026. Now, I am going to use round numbers when we go over this, but I do want to make mention that the amount that is going to come out to is what his considered value or profit was in this transaction, okay? Because he did sell his house. Like literally, he called me last week and said he got it sold. So here's what we are talking about here, okay? So this is why homeownership can be a game changer. No need to stress or anything. Hey, just make sure you are making the financial decision to become a homeowner and it's in your budget to be that homeowner, okay? So, as I stated, we ran the comps 2 times to determine what his home was valued at. And how you determine the value, you definitely want to stay in the area of where the property itself is at. But you, in the last 90 days, you look at the houses that were purchased in the area within the last 90 days. You also want to look at to see what houses in the area in the last 90 days are actively under contract for what amount, and then actively listed in the last 90 days for what amount. And that's how you determine, it's a range they give you, and that's how you determine what the value is, okay? So with that being said, I did that. We did it twice, okay? And come to find out, his house, and again, let's say he owed the mortgage company $150,000, okay? He owed the mortgage company $150,000. His home was valued at $400,000. His home was valued at $400,000. He owed the mortgage. This man was behind almost 9 payments, okay? His home was in foreclosure already, okay? He owed the mortgage company $150,000. And again, like I said, I'm using round numbers, okay? So he owed the mortgage company $150,000. His home, after running the comps twice, worth $400,000. At the closing table, he walked away with $250,000. That was his money in his pocket, okay? Money in his pocket. When I say homeownership can be a game changer, it can be a game changer. All you got to do is make the first step. Contact me. I'll handle the rest.